Hello there, the uneducated businessman here, talking about negotiation, and I do a video on what's involved in negotiation, and I'm not going to go into too much detail on this one because that will be for further videos and we'll break it down so it's not too confusing. But I think it's important to understand the process you need to be thinking about as you go into negotiation. So what's involved? Well, the first thing really is you got to prepare. Everything you do, you got to prepare. You got to prepare before you go into the negotiation. You've got to really think about what it is you want. What do you want to achieve? What are you going to get or aim to get from this negotiation? And how are, in my opinion, all parties going to win? I always believe in any negotiation there should always be a win-win scenario. It shouldn't all be about you taking everything. At the end of the day, you want to do business, and you want to do business for a very long time. And if people can win and win with you, they'll want to deal with you more and more and more. If you just go in and steamroll and take and take and take, and you cripple people, then they're not going to be around to deal with you anymore. So I think for a successful transaction to take place, there always has to be a win-win. So when you prepare, you've got to identify the type and the scope of the negotiation, and you've got to establish your position. Where are you coming from? What do you want, as I say? Where are you sat at this stage of the negotiation? And you've got to establish the other party's position as well. What are they going to want from it? What do you think is going to make them happy? What's going to get them a win? Because if you know what you want and you know what they want, then you've got a basis of something to work towards, and it makes it easier to go into a negotiation with a clear understanding of what the other party wants from it, to enable you to move forward. And that will come into identifying a zone of possible agreement. I say possible at this stage because things change, but you need to have some sort of outline of where that negotiation is going to take you. And you've got to look at setting that tone pretty quickly. How are you going to conduct the negotiation? How's it going to take place? What sort of offers are you going to put in? What sort of incentives? And will you need a counter offer? Because you might not get everything you want first time out. So if you can go into a negotiation with, okay, I'm going to offer A, but if that doesn't work, I can maybe offer A and B. You've got a better chance of moving forward quickly and closing the deal. What you don't want to do is leave things open for other people to come in and offer better terms than you. You really should be looking at trying to get to your goal, or the final goal, as quickly as possible. The quicker you can get there and the quicker you can get things signed off, the better it is for everyone. So what strategies are you going to use? How are you going to go into this, and what sort of strategies you're going to use? And I'll cover strategies in other videos, and how are you going to evaluate what's happening, because negotiations can happen very quickly and you need to control it to a certain extent. You need to know where it's going. You need to know how to bring things back on track. We use a looping strategy in my gym where we will negotiate a price for our monthly membership, and we will know that there's going to be objections coming up, so we will know where to go within our strategy to get to where we want to be. And if it doesn't work out, we know how to go back and then pick it up and then move it forward, and back and move it forward. And we use a 3 times loop that we go through, a process that we go through, that we know if we hit every point within that loop, we will increase our chances of a successful sale by about 75%. And if we don't do that, we're sort of throwing sales out the window. So we've got a strategy, and we'll continue to evaluate where we are within that process, so then we will know that we can go back, pick it up, move forward. That didn't work, go back, pick it up, move forward, and go back. And we do that through practice. Basically, we just practice and practice and practice. And then the other stage of negotiation is how are you going to finalize the agreement, how are you going to prevent errors, how are you going to manage your emotions, how are you going to close the deal. And that's really, really important. You've really got to consider how you're going to close the deal. I see so many salespeople go through a process and then they can't close, they can't finish, they can't ask for the sale. And you've got to be really confident and comfortable closing the sale and asking for the sale, because if you can't do that, you get stuck, and all your good work comes to a grind and it comes to a halt. And this will be in the preparation. You know, you'll need to practice over and over and over again. How are you going to ask for that sale? How are you going to close that sale? Very, very important. And the other stage of it is how are you going to fulfill? How are you going to fulfill that sale? Because a lot of people forget this part, especially salespeople, because they might not be involved in a complete finalization of the deal. They might not see the transaction take place after, so they will forget about it. But they should be following up. They should be working out how they're going to make sure their client gets everything that they've agreed to, or you've agreed to, because that sale has got to be fulfilled. You've got to carry out that agreement. You've got to meet your commitments, and you've got to finally capture and share what you've been learning. You know, because this all is a learning process. And if you analyze every sale, and if you make sure that every sale is basically, I'm sorry if you can hear that in the background, I think my partner's come home and started making something, and it's a blender going off, which is a bit distracting. But anyway, let's carry on. Get in the habit of, during every sale, to analyze where you are, but at the end of every sale, analyze how you did. What did you do well? What did you do bad? What could you do more of? You know, do less of the bad things, more of the good things, and just really take it as an opportunity to learn. And the more you learn, and the more you practice, and the more you keep going, the better and better and better you get at the sales. And I hope that was useful. I hope it gives you a breakdown of the process of sales and what you need to do to follow it through, how you should be looking at the sales process. And I'll be back with some more videos on all these processes and all these little nuts and bolts that you can get better on, so you can bring it all together and become an absolute master at selling. Anyway, I hope that was useful. I'm the Uneducated Businessman. I will see you in the next video and more on sales soon. Take care. Over and out.